I'm almost positive this is not how you follow up one of the best James Bond movies ever made. That doesn't necessarily mean that Quantum of Solace is bad, but it's just kind of a step down. But let's get into Quantum of Solace, the second Daniel Craig Bond film released in 2008 and directed by Mark Foster, the same guy who did movies like Finding Neverland, Monsters Ball, and Stranger Than Fiction. So this guy is admittedly a good director. So this movie picks up directly after Casino Royale, where Bond captures Mr. White after, spoiler, Vesper, Eva Green's character, was killed in Casino Royale. So during an interrogation, they find out about this organization named Quantum, and this businessman, Dominic Green, who wants to seize control of Bolivia's water supply for... It's a little hard to say, but the best I can come up with is business reasons. So Bond is going out to stop this guy and is also accompanied by this woman who wants to get revenge for the death of her family. So like Casino Royale, I've only seen Quantum of Solace once, and that was when it came out in 2008. And I remember liking it, but since then I've heard a lot of people say Quantum of Solace is awful, disappointment, or it just takes several steps back from what Casino Royale did. I have heard so many negative things that I was almost nervous watching this movie again. And I gotta say, after all the stuff I've heard, I kind of like the movie. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely, I will agree, it's definitely a step down from Casino Royale. But to say it's horrible is really not fair, because it's not even close to being one of the worst Bond movies ever. It's just, it's middle of the road, because admittedly it does have some good elements to it that I don't think people really care to focus on. For example, it's well paced. It doesn't really take a lot of time to get into the meat of the movie the way Casino Royale did. Again, Casino Royale is the better movie, but I think the reason this movie gets you right in the action immediately is because it's an hour shorter than Casino Royale. This one's an hour and 46 minutes long. It's still accompanied by a great score by David Arnold. Some of the action scenes are really fun to watch and often creative, and the climax is fun to watch, and it can be brutal at some points. Daniel Craig still does an awesome job as Bond, still very serious, but still has the charm that made this character so memorable. And even the main Bond girl, whose name I really have a hard time pronouncing, but it's Olga Kurylenko. I thought she was good in the movie, even though she is not one of the best actresses out there. She manages to carry her own here, even if her story arc is pretty much the traditional, typical, I want to get revenge for the death of my family. We've seen it before, but still, she's kind of good. Now, what doesn't work in this movie? What would be the things that people say take a step back? Well, in my opinion, the theme song, Another Way to Die, is very out of place for a Bond song. Overall, it's not very good, but there are a few parts, mainly the little instrumental moments, that I do like. But overall, when you think of Bond, this is one of the last songs you think of. But hey, still better than Die Another Day and the writing's on the wall for the upcoming Spectre. The plot is a little complicated to follow. Sometimes the villain is absent for a lot of the movie, and when you find out what the villain's evil plan is, you're kind of like, okay, that's stupid. I mean, it's easily something that Bond shouldn't really have followed up on, like nothing too urgent outside of personal reasons, but it's not a very strong villain plot, and the villain himself isn't even that strong, especially when you consider the villain in Casino Royale and Skyfall. We'll get to that next week. That part's lacking. I did say some of the action scenes are fun and sometimes creative, but there are some action scenes that have terrible editing problems, like very quick cuts to the point where you can't understand what's going on. And there's a plane crash in the movie two plane crashes actually, where they either edit too close so you don't see the actual crash, or they cut away to the plane crashing into something and then they cut back to the explosion. It's just kind of weak. And then lastly, Gemma Arterton, the secondary Bond girl. She's pretty bad. Not only is she bad, but she's also useless. She's not in the movie for very long, so at least you don't have to put up with her bad acting that much. But when you consider how long she's in the movie and the role she has, you kind of sit there going like, what was the point of that? Why did this character have to be in this movie? And then one little thing that kind of irritated me, they go to a lot of locations in this movie, and you know when a movie has to go to a location, they have the whole, like, Venice, Italy, or Paris, France, like, in the little corner there. But here they integrate the location name with different fonts, and they make it look like it's part of the movie, like it's part of a street, and it can be a little irritating at points. Sometimes it's creative, like when London is spelled out, like, on the street. That's kind of cool, but other times when it's just text and doesn't look like it's integrated into a street or a building, it's often very annoying. But overall, I don't think Quantum of Solace is as bad as people say it is. True, it is a step down. True, the action is not as awesome as in Casino Royale. True, there are several other elements, including the theme song and the Bond girl, which don't hold up compared to some of the other Bond movies. I mean, it is currently the weakest of the Daniel Craig Bond movies, but to say that it's one of the worst Bond movies, again, I think it's totally unfair. It's not even close to any of the worst Bond movies, which I still think is Die Another Day. I keep talking about Die Another Day during these Daniel Craig Bond reviews. I bet some of you are anxious to hear a full review on that movie. One day I'll get to it, but as for now, Quantum of Solace, I think is good. It's just not great. It's not spectacular. It doesn't pump you up and get you excited like Casino Royale did, or even Skyfall, which is next week's review. But Quantum of Solace, I would say give it another shot. Don't go in with so high expectations, but I think you'll have fun with it. And that's my review for Quantum of Solace. Leave a comment and tell me what you thought of the movie if you've seen it. What did you think? Like, subscribe, share with your friends. Don't forget to check me out on my official website, therealmrrobinson.com, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, SoundCloud, and this is The Real Mr. Robinson telling you there is only one.